Thank you. You don't even know who I am. That's wonderful. My name is Tom Brennan, and I am honored to be here with Bad Egg Publishing. How you doing, New York Comic Con? How many people here have never been to a Comic Con before? Cheer real loud. Don't put your hands up. You're not in school. Well, you're going to have a wonderful time. This is going to be a great panel. We're very excited to have the folks with us today. I wrote their names down. That's how excited I am. Let's just get right to it. We're going to join our panel. First up, she's an outstanding artist. Please welcome to the stage Megan Huang. Keep going. Yeah. There's only 14 city blocks from this podium to the door, so please make sure you're as loud as possible as they come in. Next up is a terrific writer who I've had the fortune to work with for a long time, James Asmus. Another outstanding artist, Susie Blake, is with us. And another terrific writer who I've had the good fortune to work with and know and call a friend, Alejandro Arbona, is here. Next up, they are an outstanding artist. Sophie Jackson is here. And last but certainly not least, he's the reason you're here. His name is Sean McLaughlin, but it is Jacksepticeye. Welcome, panel.
Thank you. These chairs are fucking horrible.
That's right.
Break.
Well, if you do a good job, you get to have a better chair. That's the rule. So we're going to hop into the Alterverse, and we've got some of the great creators here to talk about it. But to kick us off, Jack, talk to us. Take these people into the Alterverse.
Oh, man. We all have trauma. And we weaponize it in our everyday life. Welcome to the Alterverse. I don't know, I just sit here and I like, hey, can you guys make a comic? And then they all do all the work. So I think it's them that deserve the round of applause, not me. They make me look good. But yeah, it started as kind of a joke, as two characters that just blossomed because the community loved them so much, and I'm so happy that they have. And now we have a whole universe, and we have a whole bunch of teams of people that are working on so many different aspects of this world, so I feel very lucky and very fortunate. It's very cool. Thank you guys for being here. I wish I could see people, but I'm literally blind by lights right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there, don't worry. I was here when the lights were up, and they saw me awkwardly running back and forth. Let's jump right into the comics themselves. The somewhat incredible Jackie Boy Man.
Woo!
Take us through it. Or don't.
He, again, started as a joke. Some of you might have seen the Ninja Sex Party video that I did, where I did Cool Patrol, and then I stole the leotard and then wore that for a video, and had no idea what to call myself, so it was Jackie Boy Man. But I'm glad that he turned into like a full thing, because we were kind of worried about him for a while, Sophie and I, that we didn't know what he was going to be. And now he kind of like has a backstory. Because Marvin had a backstory early on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think going into like his backstory, it's kind of good that he's just like, as is the saying, is like as simple as a sword. Like,
yeah.
Well, Marvin is just like incredibly complex and like all the deep-seated like trauma, even though like Jackie has, unexplained trauma.
Yeah, we
as of right now. As of right now. But, he's simple, and sometimes you just need a simple, guy.
Yeah, I think we were trying to make it too complex by being like, how do we make him a superhero, but he's not a superhero? And it's like, just lean into it and have fun with it. And I think he turned out great.
Yeah, it's just there for the vibes.
Yeah, simple is best.
Excellent, great job, good answer.
Thank you. Am I getting graded on this?
Yes, you are, yeah. And if you pass, you get to go home. James, Megan, you also did some incredible work on this. Talk a little bit about your experience working on this comic and the storytelling and what most stood out to you as fans and as creators.
The genuine humor of the videos, like I did live comedy for years, and I get either stick in the mud or just carried away in the joy of something. And so I either laugh with my full self or I don't laugh at all. And those videos were like so joyful and genuinely funny and like authentic, and it had this lovely aspirational superhero while also like slipping on the banana peel. Just in the extemporaneous game you had of that was truly joyful, and so much of what I love about imperfect superhero comics, like early failure Spider-Man stuff and things like that, where on his learning curve, that I immediately was like, oh, I totally want to live in this headspace and play that game and let him take one step forward and then fall down a flight of stairs. And like being able to play that game is lovely, but then also talking to you guys about the vision for some of where it's going and some of the more emotional sincerity and some of the bigger things that are boiling under the surface had me really excited to kind of bring everyone along for a ride that starts to put more and more meat on the bone as we go. So yeah, it's the best of both worlds.
Oh.
Your turn.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like you said, like this sincerity to it, like that he's an imperfect hero, as you said again. He's just really, really relatable, especially for someone like me who, has anxiety and it's like, oh, I don't think I have any friends or anything. So when I'm working on it, I feel like, oh, other people are thinking, James is probably thinking this too when he's writing it, and it like really resonates with me. Yeah.
Shout out anxiety, right?
Yeah.
The real superpower.
Yeah.
Who here is anxious? Yeah.
Who here isn't anxious because you took your Lexapro? Yeah! Megan, I'm curious, in this book, you're drawing a lot of comedy, you're also drawing a lot of action and adventure, and then, as we've talked about, there's trauma and some emotion to deal with as well. How do you talk about balancing that and changing that? And as an artist, I remember working in comics, comedy's really hard for artists. Talk a little bit about playing around with that.
It is. So I think a lot of it for me, I like to show emotion through exaggerated movements of the character. So they either look, extremely sad and, more so than they would if they were like a real life person. You have to kind of exaggerate it. And also the colors. I think it's mostly the colors because I love coloring. That walking through, for example, like a gray space, like a cloudy day, it gives that energy of sadness, or like I like to put orange in the background sometimes when there's like action scenes happening, so that gives it that like excitement, and I really like to use color to kind of change the mood for the reader and for myself so I can understand, because if I don't understand, the reader's not going to understand it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I highly appreciate just how fluid you are for Jackie, because I think that's just a great visual summary for who he is. Like, he's uncertain of who he is and his place in the world and what he wants to do, where exactly he wants to be, and that's really mimicked in the very loose movements. Most of the time he's just a blur because he's just bouncing all over the place. Yeah. And he really captures that, and I think that's really what makes him just more real, honestly, as a character.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because I think the original intent was that he was going to be, because they're all kind of representations of something I was going through, and I think he was like, hey, where I'm a superhero, I'm the best version of myself, and that was kind of when I do YouTube, I feel like I'm in control, and I feel better doing that, and it's the only thing I did that I thought I was good at, and I think that's him when he's a superhero, and then everything else outside of that is just crushing depression. As it should be.
That's life, yeah.
As God intended.
Welcome to adulthood.
Wow.
Already. Meanwhile, over at
Tom.
that's how I do it, man. Trust me. You bring up depression, it's very easy for me. Void Silver, it's an outstanding book, and let's talk a little bit, not just Jack, but Alejandro and Susie as well. Talk about, take us through the magical adventures of Marvin, rather.
I mean, yeah, again,
Wait,
he started as a joke, as most of you have seen in the video. But it was cool. I think when I started doing him, like, he didn't have a character. He wasn't anything. But then people like Sophie would draw him in certain ways. And I was like, that is exactly what he should be. That's exactly what I thought in my head he would look like and what he would do. And then I think seeing those illustrations, then a whole kind of background sort of started to form. I think he's probably been one of the easiest to flesh out because a whole magical school, and I mean, you can attest to that. You did most of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but yeah, I would like to say Marvin is my boy. Just as, you know, a good little representation of, like, you know, neurodivergency and queerness, as it were. I think, like, 98% of the community say that Marvin is either, if not pansexual, gay. Full support there. Yeah.
Shout out gay, right?
Yeah!
Gotta go for that sun spell.
But yeah, I think it's kind of fun because it's again, you're just like, you start off as a joke. And again, like, well, as somebody who was, I still am, a community member of, like, the JSA community, as you all are, it's really, like, I'm very honored that you just reached out to someone like me to work on this character that was technically invented by you guys. So congratulations, all you guys, for, like, coming up
You
with
tell
him.
us about
It's
it.
like, congratulations.
But yeah, I mean, you guys are the ones that, like, bring him to life. What is it that kind of, like, sets your heart on fire?
For me, a thing that I really sparked to was, as Sophie and Jack mentioned, when we first started developing these characters in these comics, Marvin had a much more fleshed out backstory than Jackie did. So it was interesting for me to kind of come into this thing where a lot of the book was already written, the rules of magic, all of that kind of thing. But where I really sparked was when they described him as kind of like, his power comes easily to him, but nothing else does. He kind of makes a mess of things with the rest of his life. He has to kind of learn to grow up. He has to learn humility. He makes enemies. And I was like, well, that's where I can sing. That's where I can relate. So that's been a lot of fun to flesh out the character in that way. Kind of inject a lot of humanity into all of this arcane magic and everything that was on the page to begin with.
Yeah, a thing I really enjoyed about reading it, I just love the notion of, imagine a world where magic is real and most people generally don't care. They're just like, oh, these magicians, the worst. Susie, talk a little bit about, like the art you've done is great. One thing I love about reading through it, I'll read any book that the great Dave Sharp letters, but I love that there are a few pages where there's no lettering at all, and you're just telling the story just with visuals, which is harder than you think in comics, but also ultimately the goal. Talk a little bit about exploring the world and drawing the world and telling that story.
Oh gosh, well, I mean, I really have to credit like Sophie for doing all of the world building for like the magic systems. There's so much that goes into it, and it's been incredible. I love like drawing all the little emotions of our sassy boy. I mean, they're the ones that I should really credit. I just draw the cats. Like,
And you draw them well.
oh, thank you.
The latest script I finished has something like a 10-page long action sequence that's almost entirely silent. So good luck with that.
And I use my poor cat as like a reference, so I'm like holding him at like different angles. He's fine. He's just like purring along. Like.
Do you guys as writers like doing that to the artists where you're like, I can't wait to see what they do with this? Like, I can't wait to fuck them over and
absolutely.
write such a difficult thing.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, in all seriousness,
Show them for doing great.
The magic of the no pun intended. I'm sorry. That's it. But collaboration is such an incredible thing. Like these characters came to us kind of extremely fully formed, and then we, the writers, we started like tinkering with them in our own way, and then the artists came in, and then they completely bring them to life in their own way. And when you read the finished comic, it's like it's not authored until everyone has done their part. Like the authorship of the comic is everyone working together, and I think that's the most beautiful part of the whole kind of experience of collaboration.
I think my ultimate favorite note from you is you had me doing a super detailed background with lots of crowds, and you started off with, "I am so sorry, Steve."
Well, as one of my mentors said, when you write a script, it's kind of epistolary. You're basically writing to your collaborators.
Right.
And so I'm always doing that. I'm putting in notes, and here's what we're trying for, and it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing I did? Yeah, it is a sorry. It is.
The spotlight has brightened upon Megan.
It is the thing where you're excited to see what that next person does because you know what you love about their work, and you're I try to write dynamic, energized moments because I think that comes so clearly through in your work, and I love the way you convey energy on the page and stuff like that. So it's always those places where I'm thinking I'm excited to see you do this, as opposed to just the idea of, if I just cared about my own contributions, I'd be writing novels instead of comics, because this is so much more collaborative, and things like this where we're drinking from your well, and
My well is fucking rotten. That is water that will make you sick.
It was the bog water.
Yeah, pure filth.
and then as it goes through us very quickly,
You filter
to
it.
places it shouldn't, then
Yes.
it goes on and becomes the full collaboration.
I do want to take advantage of just that point there, and I can't stress enough, I don't work for Bad Egg, so I have no vested interest in saying what I'm going to say. I think it is outstanding that they have artists on the panel as well for this, and please, let's give point to give them a round of applause for that. Yeah, sucking up to the crowd. That's how I do it.
Dude, Tom, great crowd work, man.
Hey, no problem. By the way, isn't this the greatest city in the world? All right.
6 people.
Yeah, well, that's because most of them are from Jersey. Good for you. Hey.
Make yourselves known.
Yeah. Hey. Enjoy the New Jersey Transit ride home. Maybe it'll be running. So what's next coming in 2025 from our friends from the Alterverse? Well, the somewhat incredible Jackie Boy Man #3 with cover A by Megan Huang, cover B by Ash Kohari. Anything you can tell us about that's coming up in issue 3, or do we just have to pay for it?
Oh yeah, money please.
Great, done. Next.
Money first.
The
then
basket's
money.
going around, and then we'll answer all the questions.
Yeah, it's just
after
like church. There's a collection plate.
that. You'll all feel bad when you leave.
I mean, we are sort of at the midpoint now where we're starting to ramp into what finale stuff will be. And I think these issues are the ones where we had to regroup and kind of talk about it again to be okay, we need to make sure that this is actually going in the direction we want. And it's great to have fun and set everything up, but it actually is leading somewhere, and we need to not, write ourselves into a hole, basically. Your turn.
Alejandro, you're big on writing yourself in a hole. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, I guess that's my next problem to worry about. But, yeah, no, that's what we're doing. We're racing to the finale as we speak. So.
Yeah, the end is near. We're all gonna die.
That's the surprise of this.
The comics end. Everyone dies.
Yeah, everyone. And then Void Silver #3. What can we expect here?
Same outcome.
not.
Everyone dies.
Same, everyone
It's
dies.
just all death all the time.
Yeah. So invest.
I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about it without spoiling stuff and how, let's just say there's a reason that we did Jackie and Marvin simultaneously and parallel towards one another, so it'll be fun.
You'll have to
Excellent.
find
Yeah,
out
hey,
exactly what.
Give it up for fun. Yeah.
Shout out fun.
Well, if you haven't read the comics yet, you should. They are available right now at booth 3325. That's 3325.
Come on down.
Yeah, hey. And on that also, Alterverse merch is now available at booth 3325, and I believe, here, show this off. Show your wares. Hawk.
Y'all motherfuckers love capitalism?
Yeah!
This is what this country was made for.
That's right.
Well, technically, the T-shirt canon is what America.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're not licensed for that, so.
Here we have our fall collection. It's cool. I'm glad we're doing merch. I think it's a fun extension of the brand for the people who want it and seeing these characters. And also, we just have such great artists doing stuff that it would be a shame.
I mean,
not
just
to
look at this. Look.
make money off of them as much as we can. But yeah, feel free to check it out if you guys want. I know that money's tight this day and age.
Boy, that's not what an American would say. Check it out, definitely, and spend some money. It is also available online as well. And with that, I believe we have a video message here for us. All right, space.
Oh.
Oh.
Well,
Thank God people cheered.
Yeah. Before we get to the Q&A, talk a little bit about that. What can-
So that's the Overnight Watch, which is the game that Kyle and I and Sophie and also John Szymanski, who has been helping make some of it as well. Kyle's been working really hard on it. We don't really have a date yet because video games are way harder to make than people think they are. And Kyle is basically working on his own all the time. But yeah, that's a sneak peek. That trailer doesn't go up yet until like Halloween, so that was for you guys because
that was an exclusive.
look, I'm not Kevin Feige. I can only bring what I have.
Yeah.
I can't set up phases, and I don't have a Spider-Man, but we're close enough. But that game was inspired by the Overnight Watch thing we did years ago before Thankmas was a thing, and everyone participated in it for the live stream, and that was really fun. So now it's took on its own life, and it's sort of it's kind of like an observation duty kind of game for people who are into it. I don't know if that's still popular. Again, video games take very long to make. And it'll go up for free so people can get it. You don't have to pay. I know, it's going against my whole capitalistic thing that I just said, but
It's, you know.
at least for the first thing, just for you guys to have fun with it and see what we're doing. So there'll be plenty of more games in the future, but this is the first one. Please be gentle. Thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to turn it over to you folks for Q&A. There's going to be 2 lines over there. It may take a moment to get us set up.
Don't kill each other, please.
And remember, the most important thing, if you've ever been to one of these conventions before, if you have a great question, ask it. And if you have a not as great question, leave that one and just make sure we can get as many people as we can. Or that, you know, he's a visitor here. What can I say? All righty. We'll give it 1 moment just for folks to get settled.
Everyone's so polite. This is great.
It's a very different city
Such
than
a
it used to
far
be.
cry from PAX years ago where people would trample each other.
Alrighty, and we will start over here with you. Yep.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Trying not to pass out from pure excitement. So, I have a question for someone amazing, or well, Jackboy Man.
Sure.
Is there? You can't really say yes because spoilers. But do you know if you can give us a hint if we could see like any cameos or characters from like people you've collabed with or worked with from your past, like Mark or Ethan, that we could maybe not be like mainstay cast characters, but like little like winks and nods.
No, fuck those guys.
As you should.
Yeah,
This is all about me.
Damn right. Straight.
It's a vanity project, just so I can live out my dreams of being a superhero. I mean, it's early days. We can basically do whatever we want with any of this. So, I mean, it's a great suggestion. We'll make money off of it and you won't.
I'll be old and being like, you know why he made so much money off that? I haven't seen a damn cent.
Dude, I'm making so many money jokes here. People are going to take me seriously. I'm sorry. But thank you.
Nope.
There might be
Thank
things like cameos in Void Silver, but they was just like little background characters. Like
Yeah, there you go. That's whatever voice you want it to be.
And over here.
Hi. Oh God, is that what I sound like?
Yes.
Unfortunately, sorry.
Okay, so quick question for the writers and of course Jackie Boy. You said that unfortunately it's coming to an end, but is anyone considering crossovers between the protagonists and for the writers? What sort of problems would that create for you? Like,
Yeah, what's your problem?
That's a question for them.
I mean, anytime you're mixing different mediums, like it's a superhero book and a magic book, but that the characters would have to wrap their heads around each other, the rules would have to blend or bend or break. So you definitely have to either find the perfect melding or you lean into, I think, the accident of the way these things ricochet off each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Marvin would survive 5 minutes with Jackie.
No, we
so
drive
complex.
him nuts. But yeah, again, we can't say much without spoiling things, so just stay tuned. But thank you.
Would people want them to cross over is the question?
yes.
No.
I don't know. Would you guys want that? Okay.
And I'll just to talk a little with Susie and Megan about this. Like, what about the other project would you love to draw? Like, what about are you like, man, I wish I could have drawn that, or you drawn that sort of sequence?
Like beyond the Ultraverse.
No, I'm sorry. On your for your title and her title.
Oh.
Sorry.
I mean, I really love your action scenes. Like, you have so much, like, bombastic, like, dynamic scenes going on. And, like, ours is a lot more, like, mystical. So, like, I'd love to do that kind of, like, crossover in the cityscape.
Yeah.
Like, that you do. Like, it's all wicked cool.
No, I love drawing like magic. I feel like we should just switch.
Should we just switch one?
Switch and not
Switching books right now. Yeah. You made that happen. Nice work.
Again, we will make money off of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're awesome.
Hey,
Thank you. Christ.
everyone okay?
Hi. So I kind of have a question for Jack and the artist. How was it like giving the artist kind of like your idea to create Jackie Boy and also Void Silver and stuff behind like the artwork and all of that?
For me, it's kind of tricky because I don't I just work in a vacuum on my own, and like the only person I have to give feedback to is myself. So I think early on it was kind of hard for me because you don't want to see something that someone's drawn that's really good, but it's like in your mind I'm like, oh, but if we could tweak that like a little bit, and I kind of felt bad doing it initially. Now, of course, we collab fairly often. We do drafts and everything, and it works really well. But I think you guys have a good handle on what is supposed to be happening by now. But early on for me it was tricky to do that. But for me it was more like, well, Marvin should have more like finesse and like it should be more spectacular. And for Jackie it was like, well, he's kind of like a Spider-Man-y kind of thing. And I'm a big fan of anytime an action sequence is like anime or any sort of comic book stuff. I like when characters are like sort of like cats, kind of like panther-like, where it, like you can really sense like the humans don't really move like that, but to get that sense of momentum, I think, was really important for him, and I think you guys nailed it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sophie, I'm just curious. You're the first sort of collaborator here on this. What were your thoughts when you first heard these ideas and just started noodling around with drawing them in your head? What stood out the most?
Start the most with Sean is that it's something that you've not really been told in person quite a lot, but you have got some good ideas. You have a lot of good ideas, and you don't give yourself enough credit to recognize that.
I will never do that. That's an Irish upbringing, but thank you. I will take the compliment now. Thank you.
It was very
No, I'm
brave of
very
you.
awkward about it.
No, I'm Irish American, so I know how hard that was for you. You, sir.
Hello, my name is William. Nice to meet you guys.
Hello.
Apologies, I am a bit of a newbie here, so forgive me. But from what I can tell from like just seeing the artwork, the themes, all that, like you, Jack, regarding to your alternate personas, your inner, as I said, in the beginning of the panel, the anxieties, the depression, the deep mental escapes that you deal with in this comic. Like, what is it like actually exploring into that theme, like telling that story in that within the media with all these series?
I mean, I think with my channel in general, I've always been kind of like open about the struggles of stuff. I mean, well, it's mainly from doing like things like this. Like every time I come to a convention, or I used to do PAX years ago, and every time I would meet people, it was always like the same stories. People were always struggling with mental health, and it didn't really matter who I was meeting or where they came from or like how they aligned or anything like that. It was always kind of the same sort of humanity behind it. And I think that that was important to showcase more than anything. Especially for, like, if you're not writing truth, then, like, what's really the point? You're just kind of, like, making stuff. But, like, you need something that relates to people as well. And, I mean, you guys as writers can kind of relate to that. And, like, we give you notes and everything, but surely you're putting, like, some of yourself into it as well. And
yeah. Absolutely. It's funny when as I said before, so much of Marvin came with, like, very extensive world building and all of that. And my first thought was like, this is all like, it's all there already. I don't know that there's anything that I could add to this, which is kind of daunting because if there's nothing I can add to it, then I'm not really going to enjoy the work at all.
I think you do yourself a disservice. I think you added quite a substantial amount to Marvin.
Amazing
well,
job.
thank you. I just meant that was my initial fear, but as soon as I started writing, it was like, no, I can really pour myself into this, and then my primary goal is a readership of 2. Like, I'm just trying to please these 2 readers first and foremost. But then my secondary goal is that I kind of want to write my thing that I'm pouring myself into, that I care about.
Yeah, well, I think the best works can come when, like, you can come out when you're just actually having fun in it. Is the best kind of work you can produce.
Yeah, which I think we definitely have been. I certainly have been.
Yeah, I mean, if the passion's not there, I think people would tell immediately. James, you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful encouragement to be allowed to do that in a space that's also meant to be big tent, welcoming, because I think sometimes you might get asked to write something and the person you're partnering with confuses, we want to invite people in to mean make it about nothing, so that we don't drive anyone away. And in this case, it really was the invite to get personal and include emotional vulnerability and relatable anxieties in some of this, that struggle that a lot of people are going through was so core to the character from the first time we talked about it. And there's not always that consideration of depth of character or offering this as a thing readers might be able to see themselves in, as opposed to just a power fantasy.
Yeah, not to like make a big statement or anything, but I feel like in the world we're in now, especially with like algorithmically driven content and AI driven content, I feel like those are the things that like only people can do, only humans can do. And if you're writing for views or you're writing for monetary gain, then you're not writing art, really. Well, I mean, again, there's nuance to everything, but I think you guys know what I mean. Like, an AI can't figure out what that kind of stuff feels like. So I think it's important to recognize the humanity in it, and I think that that's what the sort of common denominator is, that they're just people. You can accomplish great things, but you're still just a person at the end of the day. You still go through struggles, you still deal with the headaches of life.
Yeah, there's a soul in a body, so yeah.
Yeah,
there
is.
My shocked to know there is a soul.
Applauding
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carrie, and I wrote everything down, or else I will sound like Porky Pig while trying to talk.
Sure.
That's relatable.
Nice
I
work.
do the same thing.
In the 10 years I've been in Jack's community, I've watched mental health be a huge priority of his life, while mental health struggles we all face, and the emotions poured into your characters and story. Just as a check-in, how are you guys feeling? Did you eat today? Did you sleep well last night? How was your flight?
I have just chowed down on.
That's the best question anyone's ever asked at a Comic-Con. All right, so how are you all doing? Start at the...
I start with Megan.
Yeah, let's start.
How are you?
What? Oh.
Yeah. Answer, tell 800 people.
Succinct answer.
Well, if I'm being honest, I did not sleep well last night. I had anxiety because I knew I had a lot to do today. And a cat also woke me up. So, the cat, it wouldn't leave me alone. It was my friend's cat. And I tried to close the door on it, except not on it, but like it looked
to keep it out of your room, not, yeah.
yeah, with those eyes, and I was like, oh, I have to leave the door open. But I can only sleep with it closed. I'm like, I get like really particular about these things. So yeah, no, I'm very tired. Thanks to that, thanks to my anxiety, thanks to the cat. But I really appreciate you asking, and if I could like hug you, I would.
You're good, girl.
Maybe later.
Do it.
$15.
Yeah. Yeah. Subscribers get hugs.
You have a lot to learn, Megan.
James, how are you doing?
Cons and self-care are antithetical to me, but seeing folks today honestly is deeply rejuvenating. So thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going
So-
on like day 8 of my trip because I just had my high school reunion like a week before.
Oh, man.
It's been a lot. Like I've been away from my cat for like a week. And that's like Higgins or whatever, tuxedo cats.
These are like polar opposites of your answers towards.
Yeah. Wow. And yet the same anxiety. So that's
Yeah.
interesting, right?
And you can't sleep the night before because it's like a field trip. You're like so excited for the next day.
Exactly.
The last time I spoke, you may have caught me going a little bit like dial tone brain for a second there because I'm very nervous and I have anxiety, but I've been having a lot of fun too, so this is really great. I feel really good.
I'm doing all right. But yeah, I do suffer from anxiety and that kind of stuff. And I will be honest, I am bricking it sitting up here because this is the first time I've ever spoken to an audience this large. But
Doing
first thing I want to say to all the people on the mic who are saying I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Guess what? So am I. I know exactly how you feel. So I'm just glad to know that like you're all with us in this. It's just we all have anxiety and we're all getting through it together.
We got this, team.
Guys, I broke my toe. I'm wearing Crocs because it's the only thing I can wear with a broken toe that doesn't hurt.
You didn't even stylize them.
I know, because they're the fastest ones that would come. I would love the Shrek ones. That would be so fucking tight. But yeah, we got in yesterday, so I mean, I guess everybody is all over the place. So if we're all tired. We're here because we want to be here and we're having fun. And I think you guys know the same thing as well. I mean, you guys have been walking the convention and waiting and everything, and sometimes that's so much more exhausting. So I'm just glad people showed up.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Heaven. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you remember me earlier, but I said I love you, Jack, and asked for a fist bump.
No one's ever done that before.
Sorry. Before I ask my quick question, I just want to really thank you for all of your years of content and I think last year or 2 years ago when you put that video about coming out with ADHD, that really touched me a lot because I have ADHD too, and you opened up about your struggles, so it really meant a lot to me. I really love it when creators like you, they open up, they're not scared to talk about their ADHD, and it motivates me a lot, and I really thank you for that.
Thank you.
And my quick question is, can I get a picture with you real quick?
Wait, say it again. Everyone was clapping because it was such a great
Can I get a picture with you real quick?
We're not allowed, man.
Yeah, can't right now, sorry.
I'm so sorry. We even had it at the signing we did earlier. Apparently it was causing a fire hazard because there were so many people waiting, so we had to speed up the line, and then I couldn't take pictures with people anymore, and I'm so sorry. I would take a picture with every single person here if I could, but I appreciate you asking. I know how earnestly you want it. You can take a picture from there.
Yeah. You have no idea the insurance risk just coming near this stage.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
But if we do it for one person, then it's unfair to everybody else, and I'm sorry, but thank you.
You could just do a huge selfie here. Just turn around, do that. With everyone
That's
in the
true.
audience.
You want me to take it for you? Or?
Okay, I'm not going to get everybody in. We'll stitch them together. And you guys.
Lastly, I want to thank you for helping me beat Sans. I had to look back at your old Undertale videos to know how to beat him because he was such a pain. So thank you for that. Thank you for keeping those still up.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we're coming over here.
Hello.
What up?
I didn't know I sounded like that. Wow. Well, so I wanted to say thank you for being an inspiration to me in creating my own characters because I found you and also Mark's characters very inspirational. But I have an interesting question. I don't know if you're going to be able to answer that, but I'm curious, since you have Marvin and you have Jackboy Man, are you going to expand to more of the other characters like Chase or Auntie or Jameson Jackson? I doubt about Jameson Jackson because all it's going to be is a silent comic book with no speech bubbles.
I mean, that would be fucking sick.
Yeah.
I think right now we're just focusing on those two to make sure that we get them done right. I'm terrible at doing multiple things at once, so I'm trying to not take on too much and get into the other characters immediately. I mean, in comic book form, I don't know. I think these two characters were ones that really fit the comic book atmosphere first.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to do more with the other characters eventually.
Yeah.
There's plans done. Sophie came down to Brighton recently, and we went through a whole timeline of things and really hammered out a lot of details that we were kind of stuck on.
Yeah. We do have plans. It's just a case of, honestly, it takes a while for us to do anything, so dare we ask for patience, but I know you guys are patient.
Yeah.
We're coming on here, well, what?
Yeah,
10
give it up for
years?
patience. Yeah.
I mean, I do feel very fortunate that it's taken me forever to move these stories and move the needle forward, and I'm just really grateful that people are still interested in it. There's sometimes where I'm like, oh man, I let them down, it's taken too long. It started in 2016, and it's so long ago since then, so I'm just glad, thanks for still being interested in them. And we do have a beginning, middle, and end for egos and what their story is and everything. But there's also the Iris world that we want to explore, and that was also part of why we were doing this, to kind of fill out that world. I'm not in a rush to get it over with.
Fair
I know people would love to see it immediately, but it's fun to just build out that universe, and I think it's cool. And I'm excited about that more than I am just about finishing it, so...
Yeah, slowly build it up.
Yeah, and that's what's fun. Everything these days is everybody gets everything immediately. And even television is here's the entire season. And I'm a fan, I'm a person who grew up watching Lost, which every week you had to wait, and then you had to wait for the next season, the next year.
Breaking Bad too.
Yeah, I like that type of storytelling. I like when you can kind of build it out over a long time rather than just info dumping immediately.
Yeah.
And it gives you guys a chance to kind of sit into the characters a bit more and kind of settle in and just have more fun with it. It doesn't have to be done immediately. It doesn't have to be over.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming over here.
Oh my God, hi.
Hi.
My name's Shannara, and I just want to say, first of all, that I've watched your videos since I was in middle school. I'm 21 now. I just want to say that your talks about mental health mean a lot to me, and piggybacking off of the amazing question that was asked earlier, I do kind of want to know what each of you do personally to take care of yourselves.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
When you're feeling so blue, what do you do?
So, for me, I like to hang out with my dogs. It's all
Man, you
animals.
really hate cats.
I like all animals, but yeah, I love my dog Lulu. I love my dog Ripley. They can be jerks, but I really like it. I find it really relaxing to go on walks with them. And Lulu has recently started to ask to go on 2 walks a day, and possibly a third one. And I'm like, that's too much. That's too much.
No, I love to hear it.
Yeah. So I think, having them around in my life really helps me. And I think, so I'm from Toronto, and Canada, and
Just in case you didn't know.
Oh.
yeah, but like so being here without them, I think is, kind of hard. But I know I'm going to go back and see them, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
You could find some furries on the floor.
Oh,
Do some heavy petting.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, yeah.
There's one of the biggest things that helped me for self-care in my adult life was finally learning how to set limits on what other people ask of me, and learning how to say no and stand up for myself.
I love that.
And that was hard. I grew up in the Midwest where you never want to be an inconvenience to anyone, but there's a point where I can't be a good me for you if I'm not taking care of myself. And that took a long time to learn.
Thank you.
It's very hard when you're first starting out because you want to be able to say yes to every single project and you just burn yourself out. Because like the Rick and Morty's so cool and like Skullgirls and Wayne Family Adventures, you just want to do it all and not disappoint anyone. So I've also learned to be able to like develop that work-life balance so I can put like all of my passion into like one project. And you guys had such smart answers and like my go-to was like eat noodles.
That's valid.
I love noodles. I love soup and I love noodles. Okay. Another thing for me is soup. Like I love.
Fucking shout out soup.
I love ramen. Yeah.
Food you can drink.
Like my brothers in the audience, like we would get pho all the time. Like that's our go-to.
I love it so much.
We should get noodles after this.
I love noodles.
We're all getting soup after this.
Yeah.
Let's get souped.
Let's get soup.
I'm kind of relieved that the topic of food came up because my answer was about to be real goofy. But I like to make omelets, and mastering the classic French omelet is so difficult, and I've been practicing for months. And I feel like identifying that anxiety is a problem for me is a fairly new thing that I only just learned to start managing. And making a classic omelet well takes like 30 seconds. It's extremely stressful, it's extremely difficult, but everything else goes away. I'm just doing that, and everything else goes away, and then I can eat it, and I feel better. So that's a good one that I've been able to find. Yeah. So I drink, which is an unhealthy.
I thought we were not allowed to say that.
Yeah, well, I fully cop to the fact that that's an unhealthy and irresponsible way to deal with it, but...
Yeah, we don't advocate that here at...
Alas.
I guess for me, it's the case of like, obviously the common side effects of like anxiety is to just like make catastrophes of everything and be like, oh God, what if this happens? What if that happens? And it's just constant what ifs. For me, it's just like, it's sometimes it is the hardest thing to do, but it is actually very easy once you break it. And that's just talking to people. Like, and it doesn't even matter like if you're actually talking about your feelings, it's just having a conversation with people, grounding yourself. Like one of my biggest anxieties is like, well, being, with somebody who's well-respected,
Not at all.
semi-respected content creator, and it's just like, oh, everyone like, this idol, everyone looks forward to it, they owe so much to him, and it's just like, we talk like films and music in the background, and like when we were in the green room, we were just like flipping bottles, doing bottle flip challenges. It's just like
floor.
We're all just people. We're all exactly the same on a level, and just getting that logical knowledge of just like, yeah, we're all the same. We're fine. Like it's just trying to say like, oh, the worst thing could happen. Well, if it does, okay, it happens, but. Just like simplifying everything that is like so difficult down to just like, well, I'm here, I'm right now, and that's all that matters, and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, kind of bouncing off what you guys have said, because I do basically all of those things as well. I love cooking and shout out food. But Evelyn and I have this thing recently where we have a thing called Baby Day. So if you're overstimulated and you're stressed and there's stuff coming up and it's like, you just know the day is going to be a big fucking stinker, then I'm just like, okay, Baby Day. And then it's like, all bets are off. You watch the things you want to watch, the comfort shows. You eat the things you want to eat with no guilt. You play the game you want to play. And then by the end of it, it's like allowing yourself to fully feel it and fully admit to it and fully fall into it, and then just kind of not give yourself a hard time for it. I think for me is really important that sort of helps me get over it, and then it passes much quicker. Because I used to get into these like depressive episodes that would last like 2 weeks. I'm like, I know it'll pass, but like I'm not doing anything for myself to help myself. And I think you as a person, your own brain is the first like thing that you learn to love, because it's the thing forming the thoughts. And like, I think you can be your own true love and your own soulmate kind of aspect to it. And if you're not healthy yourself, you can't really be healthy around other people. And it's harder to deal with the world if you can't deal with yourself, is kind of the thing that I've learned. So
Take care of yourself.
yeah.
I want to quickly answer your question as well. It's a great question. I want you to know this is a sincere answer. I read, and I do read comic books. That is a true thing I do. So I want to know that I'm being sincere before I say, like the good comics you can buy from Bad Ed Publishing at booth 3325. Yeah.
Damn.
It's the collection bag.
There you go.
This is why you're here, Tom.
So I just want to say that I have been a fan of Jack since his cabin days, and just like my friend before, I have been around with you since middle school. I'm 22 now, and I'm still loving everything you do.
Oh, thanks.
As for my question, I want to know, for people who write and make their own characters like I do, what is some advice you could give for starting your own work?
Writing it down. It's the biggest block, really, is just actually starting, isn't it?
Yes.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun to say that you're a writer, but it's very difficult to actually sit down and write. So the most important thing is just to put in the work, do the work, even if it's just for yourself, even if it's just a hobby in the beginning. To just sit down and do it, you'll get better by doing it, and with that will come opportunities.
And don't compare yourself to your favorite thing you've ever read. Compare yourself to the last work you did. And did you get a little better? Great. Move on to the next one. You're only going to get better and better and better. Don't sweat yourself for not being your dream vision yet. You'll just keep getting better when you do it.
The same thing goes for drawing. I mean, my teacher always said, just allow yourself to suck initially. Just don't stop. Just keep practicing, putting in the hours. I mean, that's really all it is.
Yeah. I thought I was good from the get-go, and I shouldn't have thought that, because looking back, I definitely did grow, and practice makes perfect, and I am still learning. So yeah.
Thank you. Your question.
All right. I have two questions. First question.
We've got 2 minutes left, so we're going to have to ask you to ask one question so
All
we can
right.
get more in.
Oh,
sorry.
You're good. How do y'all deal with nervousness? I'm really nervous right now. Palms sweaty, knees weak, arms heavy.
Mom spaghetti.
Just eat mom spaghetti, dude.
There you go. That's the answer. We're going to head over here.
Hi,
Good.
my name's Jack, too.
Hell yeah.
I have a question, and anyone is free to answer this. So if you were to take Marvin and Jackie and put them in an arena together with an infinite amount of 7-year-olds flooding in, how long would it take for them to get overpowered?
Oh, what?
Oh, it's the fighting.
There's no math questions at this.
In terms of minutes, how long are we talking? For these
Why are
small
we
children?
fighting?
Yeah, that's a good question, too. Why are we fighting?
Why would we do that to them?
Let's say they're just attacking you.
That's horrible. What is wrong with you? You should feel ashamed about
There you go.
yourself.
With that, we're going to head over
6
here.
minutes. Thank you.
So this is a question I have.
Sick.
Nice.
So actually, this is more of a demand. You guys, you, Jack, you, the person talking, and the artist, I feel amazing after all you've done. You guys made comics. You guys, whether you drew them or wrote them, or even made TV shows or the coffee business. how does it feel to accomplish much that you had, even if it wasn't a part of your plan? Because if I were like you guys, I'd be like, okay, I have a right to take a nap for the rest of my eternity.
I just think I've never been to a Comic-Con before, and I think it's so cool that now we have a comic. Like it's so fucking dope.
Yeah.
We have a comic, and it's cool, and there's characters, and there's world, and there's a story, and it's actually going somewhere, and it's not just stuck in our brains anymore. That's cool.
Yeah, it's just like for people who like grew up with comics, so like as well as like manga your whole life, like to actually have something published with your name in it is surreal, and yeah, it's just great. It's cool.
And as we have unfortunately come to the end of our time, we're very sorry. Just make sure you know that comic is on sale at table 3325. So. And you can follow these fine folks. We'll put that slide up on the screen. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Jack,
Thank you.
Jack, I have maple syrup
Jacksepticeye.
for you.